Hollow Creek, a quaint town nestled amidst rolling hills, had always found comfort in the predictability of nature's rhythms. The townsfolk lived their lives in harmony with the seasons, each change bringing a familiar sense of renewal and continuity. The changing seasons, the gentle breeze rustling through the leaves, and the soft patter of rain all painted a picture of serene tranquility. The rain was a welcome visitor, nourishing the earth and bringing life to the fields and gardens. But this time the rain brought with it something different, something unsettling. The air was thick with anticipation, and the usual calm was replaced by a sense of foreboding. As the first drops fell, they seemed to carry an unfamiliar weight, a pregnant silence that hinted at something ominous. Each drop felt like a harbinger of change, a prelude to an unknown event. The sky, once a cheerful blue, had transformed into a brooding canvas of slate gray. The transformation was swift, as if the heavens themselves were cloaked in a shroud of mystery. The wind, which usually carried the sweet scent of honeysuckle and freshly cut grass, now carried a chill that seemed to seep into the very bones. It whispered through the trees, carrying with it secrets and stories untold. The townsfolk, accustomed to finding solace in the rain's gentle rhythm, felt a prickle of unease creep up their spines. They exchanged worried glances, their usual routines disrupted by the strange atmosphere. Children who usually splashed in puddles with joyous abandon now huddled indoors, their laughter replaced by an unsettling quiet. They pressed their faces against the windows, eyes wide with curiosity and a hint of fear. The rain intensified, each drop hitting rooftops and window panes with an almost insistent rhythm. It was as if the rain itself was trying to communicate, each drop a word in a language only the earth could understand. It was as if the very heavens were trying to convey a message, a warning whispered on the wind. The storm grew stronger and the town braced itself for whatever was to come, knowing that life in Hollow Creek would never be the same again. Maggie Porter, a woman known for her calm demeanor and unwavering optimism, found herself unusually disturbed by the day's turn of events. The sky had darkened unexpectedly, casting an eerie shadow over her usually bright and cheerful home. She had always found solace in the sound of rain, often curling up with a book by the window, letting the rhythmic patter lull her into a sense of peace. The rain was her sanctuary, a place where she could escape the chaos of the world. But this rain was different. It carried a weight, a sense of foreboding that she couldn't shake off. It seemed to claw at her windows, each drop a tiny fist hammering against the glass. The intensity of the storm mirrored the turmoil brewing inside her. Stepping outside onto her porch, she felt a growing sense of unease. The air was thick with tension, and the wind carried whispers that seemed to call her name.
What is this? Why does it feel so different? She murmured to herself, her voice barely audible over the howling wind.
As the wind whipped strands of hair loose from her braid, she felt a chill run down her spine. She heard it, a soft whisper, barely audible above the din of the rain. It was as if the storm itself was trying to communicate with her. It seemed to slither around her, chilling her to the core. The whispers were not just sounds, they carried emotions, memories, and fears. At first, she dismissed it as a trick of the wind, a figment of her imagination. But the feeling of being watched, of being spoken to, was too strong to ignore. But the whispers persisted, growing louder, more insistent. They seemed to know her, to understand her deepest fears and insecurities. They spoke of her deepest fears, her long-forgotten regrets, echoing back to her with chilling clarity. Maggie felt a sense of dread wash over her, realizing that this storm was unlike any she had ever encountered before. Word of the strange whispers spread through Hollow Creek like wildfire. At first it was met with skepticism, dismissed as overactive imaginations fueled by the dreary weather. But as more and more townsfolk reported hearing the whispers, a palpable sense of dread began to settle over Hollow Creek. Old man Hemmings, who had lived in Hollow Creek his entire life, swore he heard the voices of his long-gone comrades from the Great War, their pleas for peace echoing through the rain-soaked streets. Sarah Thompson, the young schoolteacher, heard the whispers taunting her with her secret desire to leave Hollow Creek and pursue her dreams in the bustling city. Each whisper was a painful reminder of her unfulfilled aspirations. Even the children, their innocence slowly being eroded by the growing fear, claimed to hear the whispers. Their laughter, once a constant melody in the town square, was replaced by hushed whispers and fearful glances over their shoulders. Sheriff Tom Grayson, a man known for his stoic demeanor and unwavering rationality, found himself grappling with the inexplicable events unfolding in his town. The once peaceful streets were now shrouded in an air of mystery and fear. He had always been the voice of reason, the pillar of strength that the townspeople relied on, the one who calmed the town's fears and restored order. His presence alone was enough to instill a sense of security. But this time, even he couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply, terribly wrong. The unease gnawed at him day and night.
I can hear them too. The whispers. They echo in the silence, haunting my every step. They won't leave me alone. No matter where I go, they follow, relentless and unyielding.
They taunted him, reminding him of his past failures, the mistakes that haunted his career, the cases he couldn't solve, the mysteries that remained just out of reach, the people he couldn't save. Each unsolved case was a weight on his conscience, a reminder of his limitations. The townsfolk, their fear palpable in their trembling voices, looked to him for answers, for reassurance. They needed him now more than ever. But for the first time in his career, Sheriff Grayson had none to offer. His mind was a storm of doubts and fears. He patrolled the rain-soaked streets, hoping to find some clue, some sign that would make sense of the chaos. His footsteps echoing in the eerie silence, punctuated by the incessant drumming of the rain. Each step felt heavier than the last. Each gust of wind, each whispered word, seemed to chip away at his resolve, leaving him with a growing sense of dread. The weight of the town's expectations bore down on him, leaving him with a growing sense of dread. The whispers, the rain, the darkness, they all seemed to conspire against him, eroding his confidence bit by bit. As the days turned into nights, the rain showed no sign of abating. It fell with an unrelenting fury, mirroring the growing chaos and fear that had gripped Hollow Creek. The whispers, once faint and sporadic, had become a cacophony of torment. They seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once, swirling around the townsfolk, seeping into their homes, their minds. The whispers were no longer confined to personal fears and regrets. They began to weave tales of the town's dark past, long-buried secrets that had been hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy for generations. The townspeople, their faces etched with fear and paranoia, began to turn on each other. Accusations flew like the wind, fueled by the whispers that seemed to plant seeds of doubt and suspicion in their minds. Section 6. Fear grips Hollow Creek. The once peaceful community of Hollow Creek was now a breeding ground for fear and paranoia. The whispers had driven a wedge between friends and neighbors, turning their once familiar streets into a labyrinth of suspicion and dread. The town, once alive with the laughter of children and the murmur of friendly conversations, was now eerily silent, save for the relentless drumming of the rain and the omnipresent whispers that seemed to seep from the very walls. People barricaded themselves in their homes, their eyes darting nervously to darkened windows, their ears straining for any sound that might betray the presence of the unseen tormentors. Sleep became a distant memory, replaced by a constant state of heightened anxiety. Every gust of wind, every creak of the floorboards sent shivers down their spines, their imaginations running wild, fueled by the whispers that painted terrifying scenarios in their minds. Section 7. The silence after the storm. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the rain stopped. The clouds parted, revealing a sky washed clean, the sun breaking through the receding darkness like a promise of hope. The silence that descended upon Hollow Creek was deafening, almost unnatural in its intensity. The whispers, which had tormented the town for days, vanished as quickly as they had arrived, leaving behind an eerie quiet that seemed to amplify the sense of unease. Emerging from their self-imposed confinement, the townsfolk cautiously ventured out into the streets. Their faces, etched with exhaustion and residual fear, reflected the collective trauma they had endured. Section 8. The aftermath. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and apprehension. The townsfolk, their nerves still raw from the ordeal, struggled to piece together the shattered remnants of their lives. The whispers might have ceased, but their echoes lingered, leaving an indelible mark on the psyche of Hollow Creek. The once unbreakable bonds of community had been irrevocably fractured. The seeds of doubt and suspicion, sown by the Whispers, had taken root, poisoning their relationships with an insidious fear. The town, once a sanctuary, now felt like a haunted place, the memories of the Whispers lurking in every shadow, every gust of wind. The townsfolk went through the motions of their daily lives, but the spark of joy, the sense of community that had once defined Hollow Creek, seemed to have vanished without a trace. Section 9. A haunting reminder. Life in Hollow Creek would never be the same. The rain, once a source of comfort and renewal, now served as a haunting reminder of the terror that had gripped their town. Each drop that fell seemed to carry the echo of whispers, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay beneath the surface of their seemingly idyllic lives. The events of those rain-soaked days became a part of the town's fabric, woven into its history, a chilling tale whispered from generation to generation. And though the whispers had long since faded, the fear they instilled lingered, a ghostly presence that haunted the hearts and minds of those who had endured the storm.